Yeah, you can use the footage. I'm not really happy with how it turned out. There are some things I like, but I don't know how to finish it, and I need to move on. So, right. You wanted me to tell you about that time I went ghost hunting at an abandoned orphanage. Yeah. So, um, I was in this tiny town called Crocodile, and I went ghost hunting with this local group of other teenagers. And I didn't really know that group all that well. And it wasn't really legal to trespass into the property. But of course, that just made it all the more interesting. And there were a lot of legends of that place, apparently. Like, apparently some kids died there. And sometimes people would see a lady in white through the windows. And the place was, like, supposedly cursed. And when this one girl, let's call her Suzette, asked me if I was interested in going with them, I was like, hooray, ghost, and agreed immediately. And no, they didn't really know me all that well. They were already a tight friend group long before I met them. But I kind of got close with this one girl. Her aunt was the one that was lending me the apartment at the time. And she really wanted me to be included in the group, and because I was the one with all the wild stories to tell. It actually was kind of like me and you and your friend groups. Being the one with the wild stories is kind of my one real currency to make friends at the moment. And well, you've seen me in large groups. I'm not necessarily the most talkative. But anyway, so we were 6, including me, and we sneaked into this building at night. And this orphanage was huge. Imagine at least 3 stories going up above the ground, 3 stories down into the basement. It made all of like solid brick stone. That orphanage had like stood there for 100 years, and it would stand for another 100. And apparently, given what I was told about that place, this was one of those orphanages, the ones that make you question whether or not humans actually love their kids. Which is probably why there were so many ghost stories about that place. There was this one about a little girl haunting the stairwells. We were looking for like a kid ghost dressed all in white. There were rumors that you could hear babies cry at night. And for some reason, there was also like rumors of a demonic monkey that was roaming the place. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. It was insensitive of us to go there. Like, that was a recent place. But yeah, given how the rest of the story goes, I wouldn't judge those teenagers just yet. So yeah, we were making our way down the building, and it was really dark, and we were like listening for any weird sounds. We were going down a bunch of stairs, and some of us were really starting to get tense. And we were about an hour in, and we hadn't seen anything yet. And we arrived into this big round room, and it looked like an old classroom thing. And I was starting to get tense because I hate classrooms. There was something in the air, and the hair on our neck was standing on edge, and we found this weird hatch that led to another room. And we get inside, and suddenly, one of the guys in our group just burst into tears. This guy, let's call him Anton. That's not his real name either, but this was really upsetting for us because Anton, he was the guy in the group that was, he was the biggest one of us. He was calm, big guy. I only knew him as to be like calm, a little awkward, but very friendly, kind of like the rock of the group. And he kind of did remind me a bit of me, but like, no, it's just, yeah. And out of nowhere, he just broke down. And we freaked out because we didn't know what was happening. He was sobbing. His friends tried to calm him down. We tried to find like a camp near our window because he needed air. And as things eventually calmed down, we started to understand what had happened. Turns out that when he was a year old, he lost both of his parents in an accident. And despite the fact that he had a grandmother that was like willing to take care of him, he was sent to this orphanage. And it took 3 years for his grandmother to like finally get him out of there and to get him back. 3 years of like constant fighting. And yeah, he was able to go to leave and live with her again. And a year later, that's when the orphanage shut down. And I guess they never talked about it because he didn't remember any of that when he went in there. After he calmed down, you could tell that the energy was just like zapped from the group. And it never really came back. Like something in the atmosphere shifted. We stayed there a little longer. We went to the bottom of the basement. We went to the top of the attic, trying to like get impressions from the past, just trying to find like evidence of what had happened here. But I think that place was just like bleached clean. And at some point, I think I even fell asleep because I looked down and someone had thrown their coat over me. Yeah, it was getting late and we left the place sometime after midnight, way more dispirited. And in the end, we never found any ghosts. Not in the way we wanted to. Yeah, and yeah, we went home. We went our separate ways. Some of them went with Anton because, like, just no one wanted to leave him alone for that night. I went back with Suzette, and that was that. And a few days later, I left. I still think about them occasionally. Yeah. No, I didn't really mention I was an orphan. As odd as it may sound, I didn't really consider myself one at the time. Yeah, I grew up in an orphanage for like the first 11 years of my life. And the second I could leave, I left. And then I spent the next 12 years just trying to paper over that part of my life.